Hard Rock Lunchbox.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And of course, if you're watching on Stranger TV on YouTube, welcome to the Top 20. It is March 12th, 2026. We are well on our way to spring here in the Northeast. Hope you are as well. How's everybody doing? By the way, I need a haircut. I definitely need a haircut. That's for sure. My hair is just such a mess. I can't even, well, it doesn't matter. It's not important to you. It's not important to me, clearly. Otherwise, I would have done something about it. Yeah, that's right. So, I'm sorry I was late. I was in a meeting. And, I don't know, man. Listen, I've said for a while that, like, I am not really cut out for corporate structure. Like, I am not. And I don't know if it's because I never was, or because I spent so many years not in it, right? Like, it's just, most of my career has been as an independent contractor, but more importantly than that, I've spent most of my career working in small to medium businesses. I like that. I like being able to have a general understanding of what the systems do, who the people are, who the players are, what the interactions are. It's much easier for somebody like me who's while I'm a systems developer, or like software developer, like really what I do is I'm a systems engineer, right? Just complete application development from top to bottom. So it makes my job much easier to kind of just know everything about everything that's going on. So I'm having a little bit of trouble on that side. So I've been talking about that a lot. But what I'm running into again this week that I just find hella annoying is just when it seems like when companies are bigger, and I guess I've known this from other people that worked at bigger companies, but like when companies are bigger, it's just so easy to mistreat or, not do the right thing by like wide swaths of the company without even a thought. And, while my meeting really didn't have anything to do with that, that's more the corporate software structure. The other thing I'm going to talk about really is because I'm really pissed off about it. It's a real problem. But the meeting is funny. Like, I don't need to get lost in the weeds here on what it is that we do, but suffice it to say that because of air safety and, all the stuff, the reason you can't, bring like big liquids and stuff like on an airplane, and you can't pack certain things. Like, the reason you have to do that and you have to be vetted and you have to have your ID and all that stuff to do that on an airplane is for airplane safety, right? They don't want anybody bringing a bomb to an airplane and loading it in and then not getting it on, putting it in baggage and then not getting on the plane. Well, the company I work for is in freight, so we fly a lot of stuff on aircraft. We fly a lot of stuff on personal, commercial aircraft. Like, you might not know that, but we do. Like, it basically goes mail. U.S. mail comes first, and then like logistics company, shipping company, they can buy space on an aircraft. So when they tell you they don't have enough room on an aircraft, it's because they have too much mail and they have too much other stuff. So basically where your luggage goes. This isn't the overhead stuff, although that could be a thing sometimes too, but we'll get into that later. All right, actually, that's a lie. We're not going to get into that at all. But so one of the things we have to do is we actually have to vet the drivers that drop this stuff off as if they were passengers on an airplane. So company I work for before the merger was a really major player in in domestic shipping, right? So we, like, thousands of shipments every week. So when you ship that off, and you get quite a few visits from the TSA about making sure that you're doing everything correctly. So we have a really detailed system at the SOS side for how to handle all this driver information, to make sure they're licensed, make sure their IDs are up to date, make sure their training hasn't expired, all that other stuff. Everything that the TSA could come in, because if for example, if you send a shipment, first of all, heaven help you if you send a shipment that you're not supposed to ship. Like, we had a thing, legally I'm not even sure I can talk about it, so I'm not going to do that, but we had a thing once where somebody shipped something on a passenger aircraft that was not allowed on a passenger aircraft. That was a big deal, and things were noticed after that. So, but one of the things they have to do is, if you if we ship something on behalf of a client, right? We ship something, we send it to a vendor, like say Los Angeles. Hey man, can you put this on an airplane because it's got to fly into Tampa or whatever, right? That's pretty common. So what happens is once that driver puts that box or package on that aircraft, sometimes the TSA will just select that one at random for an audit, and the TSA will come by. They'll send an agent to us and be like, okay, tell me everything about this package. So we have to tell them what it is. We have to tell them who shipped it. But we also have to tell them what company put it on their airplane and what driver put it on their airplane. And then we also have to supply the TSA with their license information, their STA license, which is, it's one of 4 licenses that they can have to do that. So that happens. In fact, they were just on the meeting I was at, the dude that handles that for us had 3 of those backtrack audits on Monday. 3 on Monday, on one day. So he had to go through all that, and here's the driver, here's the information, all those stuff. So the new system we're going to doesn't do that. It doesn't do it at the driver level. They don't care. And about a year ago, this kind of came up because we were trying to morph that in. They're like, we don't do that. And also, we don't need to do that. And we were like, are you sure? Because once you go through a few $5, $10, $15, $25,000 fines, you might need to do that. Now, the system we're going to does not ship as much stuff as we do, and they don't ship it the same way that we do. So they are less familiar with the pitfalls of this, but also they haven't triggered as many audits because there's less of them. So we've been saying this for like a year. Like, we got to bring this stuff in. So now, and I'd forgotten about it. They were like, nope, we're going to take it up with legal. And I was like, okay. And that's the thing I don't like about corporate, because there's a take it up with legal sort of situation where we never took it up with legal before. We were like, this is a problem, let's fix it. Like, much like Vanilla Ice, if there's a problem, yeah, I'll solve it. And that's basically what happened. So now I'm in this meeting. Again, it's been a year. I've completely forgotten all about it. I hop on the meeting knowing full well I'm only going to be in for like 10 minutes because I got to come here. And they immediately start talking about this. Like, what are we going to do about it? And I'm like, I was all set to do something about it. And then everybody said no. So I stopped. Doing something about it. And now I was in this meeting with the president of my company, my direct boss, 2 people I don't even know, and then all the lawyers for the company. And they're talking about like what our legal liability is and like what our exposure. And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. That's the reason I'm late, because I was in that meeting and there was no real comfortable way for me to jump out of it because it was squarely in an area that I had advocated for a while ago. But I was like, listen, I got a meeting I got to go to. You guys are the meeting. And yeah. And I told him, like, you can Slack me anytime today, ask me any questions, but it's not going to change anything because it's going to be a legal decision, which it shouldn't be. It should be a technological decision, it should be a software decision, but they're going to make it a legal decision, which means we're probably never going to get an answer. So that was fun. So the other thing that happened this week, the other thing that happened, or is currently happening this week, this was great. So this is healthcare. Now, everybody that listens to this show knows I'm a proponent of universal healthcare. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a communist. I'm what they call me is intelligent. So the reason that this sort of healthcare, universal healthcare, works out is because A, everybody gets healthcare, at least the bare minimum healthcare. B, it's part of our taxes, so we're all paying into it. So effectively, it's going to be lower across the board. It allows people with extra money or extra specialty care to advance their insurance and get extra insurance on top of that. Think of it as like a Medicare Part B, like the extra insurance old people can buy. That's a ripoff, by the way. You want to check John Oliver's special on it, or episode on it, but that's not here nor there. So what happened was we switched intermediaries, which means I'm still on Blue Cross Blue Shield, have been for years. I just have another middleman that we got to pay. This is not something that gets run by me. This is something that gets dictated to me. Like, here's your insurance. And also, like, I also can't not get insurance unless I have, like, a written reason, which is also not important. So I notice we're in the new healthcare system. It's the exact same care I got last year. It's Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's a high deductible something, I don't know, HDHP plan. I don't know what it is, but it's the same one I've had for years. And one of the things that it does, or one of the things that it did, this is the important part, one of the things that it did is we have deductibles and we have maximum out-of-pocket expenses, right? So if you're familiar at all with insurance, you should know those two terms. So for years, I've had a family plan because I'm required by law, basically, to have a family plan. I'm actually not allowed to not cover my family. That's the thing. I need like something in writing from the state or whatever. I'm only allowed to not cover them if they have outside coverage. And then I have to also state why I'm not on their coverage, which is just ridiculous. So regardless, we were on the state, what are those things called? The exchange. We were on the exchange for years, very happy with it. I mean, they didn't cover everything, which kind of sucked, but it also barely cost anything, so I could pay more. And that's one of the reasons I liked universal healthcare. But so forever it's been on this family plan, each member of the plan gets their own deductible and gets their own maximum out of pocket, which means that since I am the biggest expenditure of our insurance because of physical therapies, my kidney stones are a fun one. I'm the only one that's taking any sort of regular prescriptions, and I've got a whole bunch of other stuff wrong with me. Anybody that's spent 5 minutes with me knows that, so that's fine. But so invariably every year I would hit my deductible, it'd be like $1,700 or whatever, and then they would start paying like half until I got to the maximum out of pocket. Now last year I had gotten, or maybe it was the year before, one of the years I had gotten to my max out of pocket by April because I had a couple surgeries for the kidney stones thing, or procedures, not surgeries. So I had already hit the entire rest of the year I was like, hey man, let's look at everything. You want to look in, up, out, around stuff? Like, that's fine. Whatever, if you had an appointment, I was taking it because I had maxed it out, which is great. So that's how it worked forever. So this year, I happen to notice, first of all, I hop on and it tells me my maximum out of pocket is like $10,000, which it absolutely is not. So I alert my people at the company and they're like, oh yeah, no, it's a system-wide problem. After a week of looking into it, it's a system-wide problem and they're aware of it. I'm like, doesn't sound like they were aware of it. Otherwise, they would have fixed it before I found it. We are in mid-March. So anyway, so what I also noticed is that they're not seeming to honor the individual deductible. So I ask a question. I'm like, what's going on? And the person, very nice person, responds to me and says, no, we're using an aggregate family whatever. So you have to do the whole family deductible and then the whole family out-of-pocket expense. Now, again, I'm the only one that really uses this at all. Like, everybody else in the family is maybe good for a couple $100s a year. But, like, I max it out. My prescriptions are a lot. My care is a lot. Therapy, kidney stones, all that stuff. It's a lot of money, and it really does add up. It's not when I had all the heart stuff done last year. That really was that was a lot too. But so all of that stuff. So I'm like, it doesn't say that anywhere in the information that we've been given. It looks like the exact same plan. They didn't point out any of that stuff. And the woman was like, well, I wasn't here, but I will look into it for you. So she got back to me this morning and was like, well, it turns out that this is indeed the case, that we're going to an aggregate deductible and aggregate out of pocket. And it was communicated to everybody during the open calls while we were doing all this. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. And more importantly, I have the documentation that actually says stuff like what's new. And it seems to me like if you're going to bang me out for an extra $6,000 this year, it might qualify under the what's new part of the brochure. And honestly, I really don't even know what to do about this anymore because I know nothing's going to get done. The plan's the plan, right? It's already done. I'm already screwed for this year. Like, it's going to cost me that much more money this year because they made some change. Now, what I have to figure out is whether or not it's worth it to me to press on this and being like, I don't think they mentioned it. And even if they did, it should be documented that this is a change. And all I'm going to get back is like, we'll take that under advisement and we'll use this as learning something. And I'm in that situation where I'm absolutely powerless to do anything against this big corporate entity. Like, if this were a smaller business and I was, dealing with that, first of all, I would know. I would absolutely know. Also, I would know the person that vetted the plan in the first place. And the problem is here, like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, I have never had that in the entire time I've had insurance. It's always been a personal level deductible. Always. This is brand new. This is some insurance company that just wants to buy themselves a new football stadium, and they're just trying to figure out how to make more money off of people like me. And it's really annoying. And the fact is, like, this company is just so big, they don't care. They don't care about me at all. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. They don't care about any individual. And it really sucks. It really sucks that that's the kind of world that we're living in. And there's not much I can do about it, right? Like, I can go work somewhere else, but if this is the new flavor of insurance, then everybody's doing it. And that's the argument I always have with people like, let capitalism control the market. Like, capitalism works just fine if other companies are not colluding together to just price fix, right? And we all know that. We all know examples of it. The airlines, no airline undercuts each other. Like, if you try and get a ticket from American or Delta going back and forth between the same two cities, they're almost certainly the same price. The only thing that really changes is how close you get to the ticket, because they ramp that up because they know you need it, or if it's a particularly busy lane for a particularly busy airport or whatever, or an airline. So like, American to Dallas, like that's their hub, so it should be a little bit less. It isn't. And the reason it isn't is because they don't have to. The airlines, much like other corporations, are in collusion with each other. Neither one of them want to do the lower price, because then the other one's going to do a lower price, so they just agree, like, why don't we both do the higher prices? You see that with supermarkets. You're sure as hell seeing that with gas stations right now, because they even just did a big report on it. Like, oil futures spiked to like $90 a barrel the other day, and then immediately came back down because we flooded all the countries in the world that have strategic reserves flooded the market with oil, so the price of oil came back down. But even News 12, whatever kind of reporting that is, was pointing out, like, hey man, oil prices went up, and then all of a sudden gas prices went up the same day. That's true, right? Like, we're paying well over $3 a gallon now. And then oil prices came down, but gas prices didn't come down. You know why that is? Because all those companies colluded together to keep gas prices up just a little bit longer. Right? I mean, never mind the fact that the oil or the gasoline that was in the tank at Mobil on the day that I had to get gas, on the day that gas prices went up, it still costs what it cost whenever they filled that tank a couple weeks ago. It's not like that was all of a sudden more expensive. I understand that the new gas is going to be more expensive when they have to buy it, but then charge us more then. Like, see what I'm saying? Like, that's ultimate scam, scummy kind of behavior. They're already doing that. But the simple fact that they can just be like, no, we're going to keep charging you $3.15 even though gas is, the price of oil has gone down. But the day it goes up, they can charge more. The day it goes down, we can wait a little while. That's collusion. And that's why capitalism cannot work with collusion. That's why anybody that ever tells you about capitalism and how we should just let the free markets reign, they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, because you can't allow for this other factor. Like, what they don't realize is that the robber barons of old, they could do this because they hated each other. And they were constantly undermining and undercutting each other. You know what I mean? It's not like Hilton and Marriott hate each other right now. They don't care. They have hotels in the same city. They're going to charge roughly the same amount when they're close together. They'll charge less and less desirable places, more and more desirable places, but they're about the same price because they collude to price fix. That's what they do. That's how capitalism works. You don't think, like, we would all flow to, like, the gas station? Like, let's just say Speedway, for example, was like, oh, price of oil came down today. Why don't we drop it back to $2.63 or whatever it was before this stupid war started? You don't think everybody on the island, and maybe even people from around the tri-state area, would come to that Speedway to pay $2.63 a gallon instead of the $3.20 or whatever the hell it is now, or whatever it was yesterday? Of course they would. But they're not doing that. And you know why? Because they're price fixing. They're colluding together. And that's really been pissing me off. And I have absolutely no idea how I got onto this subject. But here we are. Sorry about all that. The work thing really threw me. It really just bothers me so much because I feel powerless. Oh, that was the point. I feel powerless to do anything about it. And it sucks when the only recourse we have is like, well, quit that job and get another job. Okay, well, that involves some stuff, right? It's not just as simple. Like, I'd much rather my company just do the right thing because they should be doing the right thing. The fact that they did the wrong thing and it's just going to be too bad and a learning experience for whatever team screwed the pooch on this sucks. Because at the end of the day, I'm out $6,000. I might even be out $7,000, depending on how they want to do it. And that really sucks because you know what I don't have? $7,000. Certainly not an extra $7,000. Does anybody else have an extra $7,000? Of course not. You know who does have extra $7,000? probably the owners of this intermediary that like sold us this stupid insurance plan. I bet you that's true. I don't know if anybody had Highmark, but I have Highmark now. It's Highmark. Again, they're the independent administrator of my Blue Cross Blue Shield account. My insurance is still Blue Cross Blue Shield, but now I have a middleman called Highmark. So I don't know if they're just the scumbags doing this. I don't know if Blue Cross Blue Shield did this. I don't really know. But I know it wasn't me, and I know it wasn't told to me, and now I'm really upset about that because, again, I don't have that kind of money. And if I did, I would be trying to throw it into savings because Trump administration keeps tanking the stock market, and everybody that looks at their retirement portfolio is basing things on a 7 to 10% increase in the stock market over time in their investments, and that's how they're going to be able to retire. Well, my friends, so far this year, we're down 2 to 3%. Like, not up 10. We're down 3. And it's all because of Trump, or the Republicans, this stupid war, horrible GOP economy ideas, and just rich people being really, really bad. I know that Bernie Sanders has put forth some sort of rule that'll never pass, I mean, unless the Dems take the Senate, about he wants to tax 4%. I think it's 4% on the richest 903 families in America. 4%. And that will fund all the health care subsidies that the GOP just got rid of. It'll also afford something like $1,200 back to everybody, in kind of a rebate or paying down some of the debt. That's 903 people, the billionaires amongst us, the billionaires who do not care about the $7,000 that I have to pay for insurance. And again, it's the exact same care as last year. Exact. It actually costs me more. Like, I pay more per month, and I also have to pay this extra $6,000 or $7,000. So if I sound like I'm in a bad mood, I am. I mean, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just cranky, and I really do not like this feeling powerless to do anything about it because nobody really cares. Nobody cares but you guys. I appreciate you guys listening, but nobody else really cares, and nobody's going to do anything about it because who am I? Right, exactly right. So we're going to get on to some music. Rich DeLeo, who is the drummer from The Going Rate, messaged me last week, and he wanted me to check out the new record from his other band, Mega Infinity, which I had heard of, but I had never heard anything from. And I have to tell you, I actually like it a little bit better than Going Rate. Not that it's a better band, but it's more my style. There's some heavier stuff in it, some heavier riffs, some heavier aspects to it. So it's way more in my lane, so I ended up pulling 4 songs from the album to play for you over the past couple of weeks. The irony of that statement that I just made, however, is that the one I'm going to play for you today, probably the most light, airy, bouncy song on the record, so it's probably closest to Going Rate, so maybe I like them equally. Who knows? Regardless, here's the debut from Mega Infinity for you Hard Rock Lunchbox listeners, and I went with When You Get Home on the box.